one of the major topics in the series is your injury and concussion. I think it was a nice segue since your brother had already had one.
Yeah.
So,
I think we
so
all
like,
had one.
yeah, true, very true, very true. Um, so yeah, I kind of want to approach this kind of delicately because I know it's a rough subject, but one that's probably really interesting and important to cover for a lot of people listening who want to learn more about it and stuff. So, if it's cool, like, can we just start on the day when that injury happened? Like, it was at Vantajam.
Hmm. Yeah, it was at Vantajam.
You
So
talk a little bit
I,
about the day, how the day was going, and how everything was going at that point in your like life and career and stuff.
well, I'd already so we'd done Lords. Um, like all off season, I was kind of struggling with some other bits, and like I thought I had some severe health condition because I was like constantly tired and like couldn't. I don't know. It was just I've just felt really off all off season. I kept pushing through it. I had loads of blood tests, like back and forth into hospitals, trying to figure out what was wrong. And at one point, I actually thought I was just going crazy because like we couldn't find anything. But I just didn't feel right. Um, but yeah, so right before Lords, I actually went to APC where Red Bull is in Austria and did a load more blood tests, did scans like 2 days before the World Cup started. And I was actually weirdly like after the day, I was like, I threw up everywhere. Like I'm not sure if it was because like the amount of like testing I'd done and like obviously needles here and there, but had like a weird like a massive anxiety panic attack for like a day and a half. It like lasted, and this is like the first time I'd really had a few over the winter for the first time, but that was like a savage one. But turned up to Lords, all went kind of well. Like got a third place, a second off the win, and we were like, sweet, like,
It's all right,
this
isn't
is
it?
going great, yeah. And it kind of like, I think at that point we are like, okay, well she's fine, you know. Um, but then I got COVID straight after, and then took a few weeks off, and then yeah, Vantajam. I thought, sick, I can get back into riding. Like I can go on cruise with my mates, whatever. Like it'll be a nice vibe. And the jumps are actually pretty savage. Um, they're quite like technical jumps, and I don't know for some weird reason I was just like I have to do a top to bottom. Like I think because Darkfest had just been on as well, and like I was
Yeah.
inspired, and like as I said earlier, I'm very competitive, and I just kind of it was so I don't know why my brain felt the need to do that, but anyway, did the first few jumps fine, and then there's like this transfer jump, and I didn't have enough speed, cased it, and fully went over the bars, and it was pretty savage. And I remember thinking at one point like I didn't think I knocked myself out, but looking back, I was kind of like sliding, and then thought, oh my god, I'm crashing for ages. So I must have like switched off for a bit, and then like realized that I
Mm.
was still crashing. So yeah, that's the crash in itself. And then yeah, just had all the symptoms of a concussion, and just slowly got worse really for over the next week.
Mm.
And then
What?
that was it. Yeah, that was, and then the rest will obviously see it in episode 3 in how we roll, how much it affected me, and what the symptoms were. And then I think later on in the series we'll see like yeah, I went to a concussion center in Zurich, and like I went round everywhere in Europe trying to find answers, and kind of just never knew that that was even a possibility, you know.
So you
Mm.
didn't actually go to sleep on the crash. It wasn't a knockout. It was, or was it a?
Like an
Well,
in out.
yeah, I can't remember being knocked
No.
out. I remember like I stopped crashing, and I was just like, oh my god, thank God for that, because it was so
Yeah.
painful, obviously. And I like tried to I did get up, and then kind of just like couldn't really stand up properly, so I like sat back down, felt super sick, and like couldn't really understand what was going on. And yeah, I think everyone's been in that situation where they're super confused. And but I actually remember, Ollie, you were in Maribor when I had that crash over the brow, and that was a huge one.
Yeah, that was
And
a
I
big one.
remember
Yeah.
feeling quite similar then. Like I felt insanely sick. Um, I felt like I couldn't see properly. I was agitated, and like couldn't move for quite a while until like, and I was so agitated. There were people in the ambulance that I just grabbed my bike and rode down. And then once I got to the pits, it was like agony for like an hour or two. Just like I felt so sick.
it's a mad thing, isn't it? Because I've found no correlation personally. I've had 9 where I'm really interested in all of it, and it was like I was quite hyped to talk to you about it because I've had so many, and I've been so worried about it. Actually, I've had 9 like ones where I've gone to sleep, but they're not necessarily the ones where I feel the worst after. I've had ones where I haven't been knocked out, and then I've not been able to hear, and I've had ones where I've like really struggled with noises afterwards, and they've not been the ones where I've been asleep. I don't know what to say. When I've gone unconscious, I sound like a child. The one like I've had ones where I've just it's felt like a big crash, but it's not necessarily been the biggest head impact. And then afterwards, I've felt I had months where I couldn't go to. I couldn't have 2 noises at once. Was my thing. I went
that
to
was a big
hospital.
one for me. Yeah.
Was it really? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was like loud noises were fine, but lots of little noises was unbearable. Like I couldn't. And then when I was at races and they were saying like, "Is the mic all right?" Because I would like sit in the pits. I was like, "Well, that's all right." But it's when like I went to a restaurant and everyone was chatting and there was music and like my brain just couldn't like deal with it. It was just, and I had to like get up and leave and then like it was an overstimulation and then stimulation, and then you just get insanely tired and then you have to go to sleep for a bit. But it's weird that you say like your ones where you were actually knocked out didn't affect you as much, because I have this theory, I'm not sure if it's proved or if it's real, but I feel like when people are knocked out, it gives the brain the chance to like heal a bit, so you're not instantly overwhelmed with like lights and noises, people asking you if you're okay, like your surroundings, like for the next, you know, however long. I feel like it gives you like 5-10 minutes of just like your brain obviously shuts itself out for it to heal for a bit, and then by the
like
time
a
you come
reset
back around,
almost.
just give it like some time to just I don't know.
I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but like hearing you in the series talk about it all is it was so like it it's so frustrating not being able to explain. That's what I struggled the most with, because I had it for I had like this annoying noise thing I had for, and I don't mean to talk about myself, but I had it for so long and I couldn't explain it to anyone, and I could really feel that was like it's like you can't put it in words, and it was probably the first time I'd had that when I was younger, and even when I went to hospital, I got they said I had whiplash. I had it for like 3 months, and they said I had whiplash, and I was like, Mum, what do I do? It was when I was quite young. What do I do? Because I don't know. It's like there's no answers.
It's crazy. It's kind of like it's because like in the series as well, I feel like I think Two Palms did an amazing job at showing like expressions on my face and like situations where I don't look quite right, and you can see that I'm agitated in a lot of the clips, like because words will never, you can never find the words to explain it. And I say in the series, like I have a much better like understanding and like empathy for people that suffer with like anxiety and depression and mental illnesses, because it's just impossible to put into words. And I feel like, and then not only that, you get annoyed that you can't explain to close ones what you're feeling, because from the outside you look fine. And well, obviously in the first couple of weeks for me, I wasn't fine, and I think everyone was kind of like, whoa, like this is serious. But as you get better and you start like slowly reintroducing normal life things, it is hard to explain to people. They can't quite grasp. You're like, no, seriously, like I was fucked. But I feel like it's like I said in my Instagram caption, it's like you don't, your injuries don't have to be visible for you to be suffering. And I feel like, you know, to a lot of people, unless you're, you know, literally on a hospital bed, and you know, it's like to them they can't quite grasp how severe and how impactful a concussion can be.
I think you've done a really great job of putting it across. I think when I was younger, I didn't understand. When someone said they had anxiety, I'd be like, about what? You know, I have anxiety about, let's say I'm going for a brain scan. I'm anxious about going for the scan, or I'm confused. What are you confused about? Can you not remember what happened? But it's not like that. Anxiety and confusion can happen without any That was what I used to struggle understanding, if you know what I mean. And I think
no, so did I. Yeah, I'm completely with you on that, because I was like, well, there's a problem, let's find a solution. You know.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's just I just cannot. I really, really feel for those that go through it, because obviously I'm feeling a lot better, and I feel like there's a lot of people that don't hit their heads or do hit their heads and don't get a lot better, as you know, and it looks like a long time for a lot of people, and for me it feels like an insane amount of time. You know, it's like 9-10 months now of since the crash, but people, it takes them years, or people live with anxiety or a chemical imbalance in their brain their entire lives, and you know, that to me, I just can't quite grasp how painful it must be.
Did you enjoy this clip? If so, please like and subscribe. The full episode is available by hitting one of the links on the screen right now, or type the Ride Companion into your favourite podcast app. We've even put links in the show description for you. Cheers!